What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you want to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description below and along the timeline, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Now, yesterday we had 2 new members join us, so I want to say a huge thank you to Larry Betts Fink. I really do hope I got your name right. Also, Timmy Ogunyemi. I really hope I got your second name right, Timmy. A huge thank you to both of you guys for supporting the channel. It really does mean the world to me, and I hope you really do know that. Timmy is a creator himself and just an amazing hub of positivity, so go on Twitter, check him out too. Absolutely amazing. And just a huge thank you to each and every one of you for being here today. You are truly amazing. And with that being said, let's just get straight in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Just to mention, this first story involves losing a young child, so if you're triggered by that at all, you may want to skip this part of the video. As I said, timestamps are in the description. You might want to skip to the next story, but just to let you guys know, okay? And our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for refusing a necklace with my son's ashes after my husband let his mother take the urn? My son Tom passed away 4 months ago at the age of 6. He had a heart condition that robbed him of living a childhood like any other kid. He was such an angel and loved food so much. I tried to feed him as much as I could because he was so thin and didn't have enough energy to run around and play because of his condition. My husband's family were directly involved in my son's care. They were always there, but they never stayed at the hospital so I could go home and get some sleep. They stopped their kids from being around him. They did not help at all. When my son passed away, they felt free to take his belongings, clothes, toys, blankets, and my mother-in-law insisted to have a burial service, but I chose to have him cremated and kept his ashes in an urn inside my bedroom. My mother-in-law started visiting regularly. She didn't do that when he was alive, just visited the hospital. And she started talking about making ashes pendants for me, my husband, and her family as a way to carry Tom's memory with us and keep him close wherever we go. She told me that my brother-in-law loved Tom so much and wanted a pendant made for him as well. I was stunned and I didn't know what to tell her. I remember telling her that this was never going to happen, and all those family members have their kids with them, and I was the one who lost a son. And she started arguing, talking about how important Tom was to her and the family, and that my husband would agree with this fair treatment instead of keeping an urn in my bedroom and refusing to let my family share their grief. I told her there was no way I'd say yes. She seemed so upset and took it personally, started berating me and talking about how everyone else was trying to show support, and that was the last time we spoke. I got invited to a road trip by my family to help get me relieve so much stress, and when I returned after 6 days, I found that my son's urn was gone. My husband showed me a necklace that he said had my son's ashes in it and pulled out another one that belonged to him that was the shape of a cross. He told me that his mum made necklaces for me, him, her, brother-in-law with our son's ashes, paid money to get it done, and we could all have Tom with us. I was in shock. I had to sit down for a minute. Turned out he allowed his mum to take the urn while I was gone. And his defense was his family cared so much for Tom, they all deserved to keep a memorial necklace as a way to remember him. I yelled at him that this was my son, not theirs. She had no right to take the urn and do what she wanted with it, especially when I told her no. I was so mad with him, I couldn't even look at him. I took my things and went back to my family and refused to take the necklace that she put thousands on. I called her and berated her for her awful behaviour and told her she was selfish and inconsiderate for taking my son from me like that. My husband is trying to apologise, but I can't accept he did this and betrayed me. Firstly, you gotta say, if OP ever does see this, so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine what you're going through on a daily basis. Absolutely, yeah, I'm just sorry for you. And you know, I can kind of understand family wanting something to do with Tom, to have some sort of memory of him. You know, I can imagine that family members do want that sort of thing, but you know, you can't just take people's ashes like that. That's just absolutely disgraceful behavior. Unless both the parents agree to this, you just can't do that. I can't believe someone would actually let the father just handed the ashes over, knowing that you wasn't going to do it, knowing that you didn't want that for your son. There's just no words that can explain what this person must be going through right now. To have the remains of her son in several pendants now around people's necks when she didn't want that to begin with. You know, if both her and the father agree to it, then great. But if one of them disagrees, you just can't go ahead and do that. Oh dear. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Haha, Heather says, I'm so sorry for your loss. Not the arsehole, I would be livid. I'd be looking into legal action against mother-in-law and I'd be filing for divorce. I'm so sorry this happened to you. What awful people. OP replied to this saying, he tried to guilt trip me into accepting by telling me repeatedly how much money his mother paid to make those necklaces, and it's so wrong, just so wrong of her to think she had a right to do this, and it felt like a slap to the face after I told her I would never give away, not even some of my son's ashes, no matter what, and I cried just like the time I cried when my son passed away. It felt like I lost him again. It's horrible, and I can't forgive my husband for what he did to me. I hope she's happy. I hope she can now walk around wearing that necklace, just lying and pretending that she cared for my son. I know it's all for show. She did this for show. I could almost swear she had a different motivation, and it makes me so sick she used my pain to get herself the attention she wanted. Dark Tangential says, not the arsehole. They should have asked your permission. I don't care what fucking weasel words they use. They had no right. OP replies to this saying, she already knew I had no intentions on doing what she asked, but she thought that my husband's approval was enough for her. He had no excuse, absolutely no excuse for what he did, no matter what he says. I'm hurt by him mostly, because I really thought he was the only one who really understood my pain, and how much my son's death devastated me. But I see him differently now. He made me feel like I was losing my son again, and he is responsible for what his mother did. I cut contact with her. She knows she can never even call because of the things that I'd say to her. She knew she made a mistake, and now she's hiding behind my husband. Ripe Cantaloupe says, not the arsehole, this is ridiculous. Why would they ever think this is okay? I would definitely cut all of them off. I would seek legal action and try to get the urn back. Divorce and document what he's done. This will be useful in divorce court. I don't see why you'll ever be able to look at him or forgive him or tolerate your husband ever again. Now, what do you guys make of this story? Absolutely devastating. I couldn't imagine ever going through something like that, what OP's going through right now. Oh my word. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story comes from MostAd9687. Am I the arsehole for dressing nicer than the bride at my cousin's wedding? I got invited to my cousin's very small wedding, which was last week. I'd never met her before the wedding, so I knew it was important to make a good impression. I have also deep insecurities about how I look due to being bullied as a child, so I always need to look as nice as possible when I'm going out, even just to get a coffee. I started planning on what I would wear immediately. The invite said cocktail attire, and I settled on tea-length dress I'd worn to other people's weddings, with matching coloured chiffon shawl and flats, as well as a real pearl necklace and earrings. I didn't buy anything new for this, just did my best with what I have. I made sure my makeup was decent and didn't clash. I made sure to get my hair cut a week before the wedding so it'd look its best as well. Well, I think I was the only one at a wedding that cared how they looked. Most of the 30 guests were in t-shirts / polos and shorts. I was one of 2 guests wearing a dress. The bridesmaid wore something that looked like it was out of Hot Topic. The groom wore a tuxedo shirt and black jeans. The bride wore, holy hell. The bride wore a custom gothic dress that looked purple, red and black, patchwork dress. Her hair was not brushed and she did black makeup so heavily that you could barely see her face. I was shocked. Several people came up to me during the reception to say that I looked nice, but I was upstaging the bride, which was not my intention. The bride herself was quiet the whole night. I tried to get to know her, as that's what she requested, but she wasn't interested. The wedding ended, and on my way home, I got flooded with calls from her mother and new husband that I was a horrible person for dressing like Grace Kelly, and going out my way to make the bride feel ugly at her own wedding. I didn't. I just can't go somewhere, especially to what I thought was a formal event, looking less than my best. I'm gonna have to say straight away here, and I might be wrong, but I can't blame OP for dressing up. It says cocktail attire. From what I know is cocktail attire is pretty smartly dressed, right? I googled it again just to be sure, and it is pretty smartly dressed. Like proper suits, nice dresses, not shirts and tuxedo shirts like they what are tuxedo shirts? The only thing I'm thinking of right now is those printed shirts with a tuxedo on the front. Oh god, I can just imagine the room people with all wearing all those. And as you said, you didn't purposely go out your way to upstage her, you were just trying to dress nice for the occasion, to make an effort, and because of your past insecurities as well, so I can't say you're the arsehole in this situation. And for them to blurb your phone about it is just ridiculous. They set these rules and you just abided by them, so this is down to them, right? Wow. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Foible Schmoible says, not the arsehole. If the invite said cocktail attire, why was every other guest dressed for a barbecue? Why was the groom in jeans? And by tuxedo shirt, do you mean the shirt designed to be worn with a tuxedo? Or And this is what I'm picturing. A t-shirt with a tuxedo printed on the front. Oh, that's just what I thought. You were definitely dressed appropriately in my opinion. I'm not fancy enough to know whether tea-legs dresses are too long for cocktail attire. I would however focus on the fact that you thought you were dressed appropriately for a wedding, rather than your desire to look your best. The former makes this an unhappy misunderstanding. The latter makes it seem like you would prioritise your appearance to the extent that you could feasibly try and upstage a bride. Info: it sounds like the entire style/theme of the wedding was non-traditional and rather informal. Was this communicated to you beforehand? OP replies to this saying, the invite said cocktail attire, which I know a tea-length dress is too long for, but I thought it would be okay. Flem Donut says, not the arsehole, the invite said cocktail attire. You wore cocktail attire. It seems like the bride and groom have an entirely different version of this concept, which was on them to communicate, especially to people who weren't in their close immediate circle. You said you never met this cousin before the wedding, so maybe it's best to go back to this type of relationship now. Seems drama. Princess D says, not the arsehole, where in the world is cocktail attire, only t-shirts and shorts? Did you get a separate invite, or what the fuck? How were you the only one who assumed cocktail attire actually meant cocktail attire? Now, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Telly Watt. Am I the arse for quitting my job after not getting a promotion? So I, 28 male, have been with my company for 6 years. I make great money, love the company and my colleagues, and intend to spend the rest of my career here. But they overlooked me for a promotion, and it changed everything. My immediate manager announced a month ago that he got a promotion to a different office in the group. Cue congratulations, but also excitement, as I also saw this as a great opportunity. I know the job inside out, have great relationships with my colleagues, and have the top client earnings by far of anyone. Plus the 3 managers I've had all been promoted from my position. I messaged my manager in HR that I wanted to be considered for the position and received a reply from HR acknowledging it. 2 weeks later, we're called in the conference room and introduced to the new manager. No one I knew, never worked for our company before, never worked in our field before. New blood, we were told. We'll shake things up, we were told. Afterwards, I approached my manager. He says he wasn't even asked for his opinion on his replacement, and sometimes it's just down to the whim of the partners and the relationships that have been cultivated within them. So I concluded I was never going any further here. I'm just someone who can make them a lot of money in the position I'm currently in. No need to move me up. So I contacted an agency and had a new position inside a week. Slightly less money and I'm no closer to management position, but it feels good. But everyone thinks I'm an arsehole. Old boss because I'm making him look bad in his last days, as I won't accept the offer they are making. New boss, who hasn't even started yet, has called numerous times, saying I'm sabotaging her from the get-go. And finally, my partner, who thinks it's because the new boss is a woman and not about respect. They didn't even interview me, for fuck's sake. So, am I the arsehole? Edit for some repeated questions. Sorry guys, my inbox has crashed and burned. I'll begin by defending my wife a bit. I did say something sexist that resulted in her having that opinion. I think she mostly believes that I didn't mean what I said, and it was just in a very emotional moment. She made me regret saying it anyway, and I did discuss leaving with her before I did. My new boss has more management experience than me, and it's easily transferable. I've seen her work history. No one expects me to train her in the job. Her difficulty will be in replacing the revenue I generate in her first 6 months. That's what she will be upset about. The offers they are making are purely monetary. I'd prefer a promotion. They avoid the subject. Yes, this was an emotional decision. As someone commented, I threw a tantrum, but at that moment, I don't regret it. Edit 2, I made the sexist comment to my wife about the new boss, not to the new boss. What I was thinking through this story, I'm not sure if it's the same in the US, but in the UK, I think, well, as far as I'm aware, is when a position comes up within the company, it needs to be offered in-house first. So it needs to go to the people within, and they need to be interviewed. I'm not sure if they're the same in the US, so it might be a completely different scheme here. So I would say, if that was the case, then, you know, you're not the arsehole in the situation. And I wouldn't say you are the arsehole in this situation anyway, apart from the sexist comment, of course. We don't know what that is, but it makes you automatically an arsehole for doing that. But in this particular story, I can't say you're the arsehole. And you need to look after yourself in your workplace and your own mental state. If you're not happy at your job, you know, find a new one. Don't tie yourself to a job emotionally. I'm sure a lot of companies, I know some will, so I'm not going all the way there, but I know a lot of companies they won't do it for you, and they will let you go as soon as you put a foot wrong. So, they're putting a foot wrong here. So, it works both ways. That's all I'm going to say on that. So let's go to the comments below to see what they say. Grilled Stuffed Dragon says, not the arsehole. Sometimes it's cheaper to go for an outside hire rather than promote from within. You are expendable to your company. You need the job way more than the job needs you specifically. You didn't agree with their decision, and so you bounced. You didn't do it despite anyone in particular. Your old boss can be as mad as they want. It changes nothing. Sparkly Unicorn Lady says, no one's an arsehole here. They had no obligation to interview you, and you had no obligation to stay. Gone in a Coma says, not the arsehole. There's two reasons they may have not chosen to interview you. One, they don't see you as management material, and two, you're too valuable in your current position. Neither makes you an arsehole for deciding to move on. Given their behaviour, it's most likely you were deemed too valuable. The new manager called you to say you were sabotaging her out of the gate. That is not someone you want to work for. She seems petty and unprofessional. OP replies to her saying, I think it is both. They're not even blowing smoke up my arse about eventually getting a promotion. To be fair to her, I can understand where she is coming from. I'm not difficult to replace in body, but my numbers are. Jury Affectionate says, not the arsehole, HR guy here. They fucked up. They missed an opportunity to have a career path conversation with you. If the outgoing manager didn't want you to make them look bad, they should have identified the risk and taken appropriate steps. Illustrious Complex 6 says, no one's an arsehole here. You're allowed to leave the company when you're unhappy, but I wouldn't be taking it so personal. You're obviously still seething over it, and it's starting to affect your personal life. That's bad. Move on and let go. Now, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from Are We Monsters? Am I the arsehole for kicking out our tenants because we want to move into the house ourselves? My husband and I have 2 children. I own our own apartment outright and inherited a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house, and I had no use for it and rented it out to a family with 3 children. The house comes with a beautiful pool, so I asked for only half the market rent, with the agreement that we could use the pool if we give 24-hour notice. This worked beautifully for both parties. My tenants were happy because they could live in what is basically a mansion for very little money, and I was happy because my tenants took good care of it. My husband and I are now expecting babies number 3 and 4. Yes, twins. I've entered the 2nd trimester, and we have come to the conclusion that our 2-bedroom apartment is too small for us. The logical next step for us is to move into the big house. We broke the news to our tenants and gave them 5 months to move out. We didn't expect them to be thrilled, but we thought that they'd accept our decision. Unfortunately, they didn't. There was yelling, tears, and threats of legal action. Now, legally we're in the clear, but we're wondering if morally we are the arseholes for wanting to move into the big house. Now, yes, it's got to be shocking for these people that's living in that house to be kicked out of it, yeah. But that is, I'm afraid, and I know it's sad, but when you're renting a house, as part of it, you can't expect to live there forever, right? Unless you own the house outright, you can't expect to live there forever. That's the whole point of renting. If they chose to, they could leave you on a month's notice. I think it's a month, I'm not sure. And put you in the same situation of having to fill that house again with new renters. So, it works both ways. So I can't say you're the arsehole for wanting to move into the house. You've got a bigger family now, and you do have to look after yourself too. They have no right to get mad at it at all. So they're the arseholes in the situation, not you. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Foible Schmoible again says, not the arsehole. The nature of renting is that you can't expect to live in the rental forever. This was always a possibility for them. You aren't moving on a whim. You're moving because you're about to have 4 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. It is a very good reason to want to move into your house. You gave them a lot of notice and they reacted very poorly. Mykonos says, not the arsehole. It's your property and you gave them 5 months of notice. They're just trying to guilt you since they're losing this sweet deal. Legal action is an idiotic threat. Ian Caradoc says, not the arsehole. It's that half the market rent sweetheart deal that they're unhappy to lose. Joker Boy Game says, not the arsehole. I feel like the only real reason they don't want to go, like you said, the big house for lower price, it's really just your house, your tenants, your rules. You can decide who stays and who goes. If you want them gone, they go, especially with 5 months notice. Now, what do you guys think? Oh, I wouldn't mind that sweet deal, actually. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and I hope you're enjoying the stories so far. And I hope you're enjoying the new thumbnails, actually. I've got a subscription to the service where I can get photos and stuff, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about copyright or anything like that. And they got some sweet photos on there, and I'm really enjoying using them. So, yeah, I hope you're enjoying that. Anyway, thank you for being here today. Thank you for being here today, guys. The time out of your day is always truly appreciated, and I hope you do know that. I hope you have a great day ahead of you, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.